What major crisis would cause all nations to accept the New World Order? Narrated by Daniel. The globalist David Rockefeller said that all we need is the right major crisis to cause all nations to accept the New World Order. Firstly, what is meant by the New World Order? The term New World Order has been around a long time, but it was first publicly announced and acknowledged when George Bush Sr. was president in 1991. To the globalists, the aim of their New World Order is to have all nations of the world be controlled by a central one world government. And the Bible predicts that in the last days, before Jesus returns to establish his kingdom on earth, that Satan, in the form of the Antichrist, and his 10 kings will govern a short-lived one world government. Note that the Bible always refers to leaders as kings. Scripture allows us to understand how this one world government will be established. Firstly, prophecy tells us that in the last days that the Antichrist, along with his 10 kings, will rule all the governments of the world. For this to happen, an unprecedented event would have to happen for all governments of the world to accept the New World Order. Such an unprecedented event will have to surpass any event that has come before it. A global economic collapse is not enough to cause all the nations of the world to accept a new world order. Even a global pandemic or another natural disaster would not be sufficient to cause all the nations of the world to accept a new world order. It was President Ronald Reagan in a 1988 address to the United Nations who presented the idea of an alien invasion when he said, "I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world." One interesting aspect that Scripture notes about the 10 kings who will be governing the New World Order is that they will be unable to interbreed with humans. Perhaps they will not be totally human. Perhaps they will be demons posing as aliens from across the galaxy, but in reality they will be demons from another dimension. Is there proof of this? Very recently, there was an open hearing in the US Congress concerning aliens and the craft they travel in that are capable of feats impossible for man-made craft to achieve. And probably the most significant conclusion from all the information and evidence presented at the Congress hearing is that aliens are not trans-galactic beings, but rather trans-dimensional beings that compose themselves as humans. This is evidenced in Scripture. We have been brainwashed to believe in aliens from across the galaxy when they do not exist. Rather, what do exist are beings that enter our realm from the unseen realm that exists parallel to our physical dimension. This concept and understanding is in line and supported by Scripture. However, it is very possible that in the very near future, in their efforts to cause the nations of the world to accept the New World Order, that the global elite will stage a mocked alien invasion. As we see global tensions escalate to the possibility of World War III, which could further escalate to the perceived threat of the nuclear annihilation of humanity, this would be the ideal scenario for the globalists to launch an unprecedented event upon the world. In such an atmosphere of global fear, and with today's technology, it would be relatively easy to stage a mocked alien invasion, similar to how Orson Welles fooled the populace with his famous radio program, War of the Worlds. In such an atmosphere of global preconditioning, it would be easy for the world to be fooled into believing that aliens have come from across the galaxy to save us from ourselves and to force the nations of the world to accept their new world order. And in such an atmosphere of global calamity, it would be relatively easy to have all the nations of the world comply and accept a governing council of 10 kings to rule over all the governments of the world. Then if any rogue nation, be it North Korea, China, or perhaps an Islamic nation, would soon comply if fire from the sky were to suddenly consume one or two of that nation's cities. Never, in the history of man, have we seen the possibility of this scenario becoming a reality. A reality that would cause a great confusion and a mighty widening of the eyes for those who have not discerned the signs of the times. For free end-time study videos, please visit the Jesus Explains channel on YouTube or the endtimesofficial.com website. There you will discover a wealth of study material to help you gain a clearer understanding of the sequence of events to happen from now to the rapture and beyond, through to eternity. God bless you, and please share the knowledge.